You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in absolutely gorgeous Northport, Florida. I've got several really cool people in the house today. I'm going to first start out real quick with Mr. Tim Chula, the beach guy out at Inglewood Beach. How you doing, Tim?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. So, real quick, give us an overview of what's happening out there and why you need the public support.
Yeah, I do need the public support. I've been doing this out here at Inglewood Beach, and John can attest to that because he's been a great customer of mine for years now. It's been years and years, and he rents from me when he comes to Inglewood Beach. And we're at the point now where Charlotte County has decided they want to move in a different direction, and they want to kind of boot me off the beach. So I kind of got blindsided in March, and they sent a email to me, and they told me they were going to put my contract up for bid, which I've had for the past 11 years now. If anybody recalls, back in 2016, they tried to do a similar situation. They tried to throw me off the beach because they didn't want me to use the four-wheeler, and it turned out to be a big fiasco. We had big rallies. We had plenty of support from the people, and your popularity has grown over the past, years since that happened in 2016. And now we're at a point now where they want to give our contract away, basically give it away with somebody who's connected, in the community with some local restaurants. And I think they want to try to change our area and make it something like Fort Myers or Siesta Key. I think that's the direction they're moving in.
Well, how can people help you?
Well, there is going to be a commissioner's hearing on Tuesday, on the 23rd, over at the Murdoch Circle at 18500 Murdoch Circle. There's going to be plenty of people out there with signs. We have poster boards. We're going to let them know that we want the beach guy to stay here in Englewood and provide the same great service that we have. It helps out a lot of people in the community. We provide chairs, umbrellas. We have different stuff for all the people that come out to the beach. For the kids that come to, we have some boogie boards and rafts and floats. And it's a nice little community there, and we really don't want it to become something like Fort Myers, to be super commercialized. And I think that's the direction that Charlotte County wants to head into, but it's not really that type of community. As everybody knows, it's more of a retirement place. Yes, some of the demographics is changing, but not to the extent that they think it is.
Are you trying to petition, do anything like that, and where can people go to do that?
Yeah, well, we can go to my Facebook, actually on Tim Chula on Facebook, and there's a petition on there to sign. So
go ahead.
If you can go there and you can sign the petition, and it's just basically saying let the beach guys stay. Basically, what I'm just looking for from the county is just an extension of my contract for another couple of years. I mean, John, you know how old I am, and I don't know how much longer I can do this. And if the county would approach me and said, hey, how many more years you want to do this? We think that we want to get somebody else in here in the next few years. Can you work with us? And maybe we'll try to find somebody that, I can promote. I'm, this fella that's coming in here and trying to slipper his way in, and he's trying to take what I've built up over the past 11 years. And nobody was there to see how hard it was to build it up to what it is today. And it provides a great service for people who just want to come to the beach, and they can't really lug all that stuff anymore. You got to a point in your life where you can't, or you don't want to haul that stuff, and we make it so convenient for everybody. And our prices are extremely low. So if you get big business in there, what you're going to have is you're going to have rising prices, and you're going to have other stuff that people don't want, on that beach to clutter it up. I mean, right across the street, there's always services to do paddle boards, kayaks, jet skis, you name it. You can get it right across the street. There's no reason to clutter up Englewood Beach with that. It's not that big of a beach, really.
We don't have the room out there or the space to do that anyway.
No. And in the plans, they want to work with 3 particular restaurants, and they want to take away part of the parking to allow them to perform valet parking service.
Wow.
From their restaurants to the beach. So they're going to block off some parking. That's in the proposal this partner made with the county. We think that's just some kind of connection there. We're not really sure. So we want to kind of expose it and let the people see for themselves what's going on.
Absolutely. So go to the Beach Guy on Facebook and do the petition, get this information, and try to get it out to your friends, because if you think that Inglewood Beach is crazy right now, it's about to get crazier if these things change out. You're not going to find a parking spot. But Tim, I appreciate you, and I'll do my best to get more information out, buddy.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your time, John. As always, you've been a great partner with me, trying to help me out in all cases, in every such way. So I appreciate your help, and thanks everybody out there.
All right, brother. Have a good one, okay?
All right, thanks, man.
All right, bye-bye. So that was Tim Chula at the beach. I've got some really special and really cool people in the house now, and I'm going to bring Mr. Kevin on here. Kevin, are you? Can you unmute yourself? So I've got Kelly.
Hello.
All right. I've got Mitch and Shannon, and I've got Kevin. Kevin, can you turn your volume down just a tad bit?
Yep.
Awesome, buddy. So with everybody now on screen, Mitch and Shannon actually are going to kind of jockey some people in and out as things develop. But I want to start with Kelly, and please introduce yourself and tell people why you're part of the show.
You have to shut this down completely.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kelly Caldwell, and I am with My Warrior's Place. My son was killed in Afghanistan, and I wanted to do something to help those that served, not only his brothers in arms, but also for families of the fallen. And so I started a nonprofit called My Warrior's Place. And we put some great programs together with the help of a lot of people. And Mitch and Shannon have put a program together with us called Operation Solid 7. It's to help with mental health and physical health well-being. And we're really excited to be partnering with them.
So how long have you been at this, Kelly?
I started My Warrior's Place in 2010, within just a matter of months after my son had been killed.
Well, I'm truly sorry, and I'm sure this has probably been a great outlet for you, because I don't know what I would do with that circumstance, and how I would have to, what I would do to fill the void. Is that really helping you along the way?
Yeah, I think anytime you can find a purpose, it definitely helps you. Whether
We need to drink after this. We need to drink after this.
Okay, go ahead, Kelly.
whether it's due to losing a loved one that you served with or a family member, I think helping to find purpose in your life makes things easier to bear.
Absolutely. And Kevin, can you unmute yourself here real quick? I'll bring you back on. And Shannon and Mitch, can you unmute yourself? So with everything that's going on, Kevin, what has this project meant for you?
Well, as a 30-year veteran and one who has experienced combat, experienced being wounded in action, experienced some PTS issues, and all.
Well, he froze up, Shannon, and up.
And healing for me to get involved with. One of the things I first said to myself when I was medically retired 3 years ago was that the only thing I knew I wanted to do when I grew up, so to speak, was to help people. And I didn't know what that vehicle was yet. But in this case, I ran into Mitch and Shannon, and the vehicle kind of found me.
And how's it shaped what you've done in your life now? with your really amazing background, um, and your time served. What has this meant to you to be able to help others in this situation?
So I kind of lost you there, John. What was the
What?
question? How does it shape my life?
Yeah, and how? What's it mean to be able to help others?
I mean, honestly, as I've gotten a little older now, I think helping others is one of the most important aspects of a fulfilling life, a whole and fulfilling life. And so paying it forward or helping others, I think
Well,
self is a great feeling to be able to help others.
awesome. Mitch and Shannon, can you come on board here real quick? Can you guys describe how you're part of the organization? And I'm trying to unmute you, but it's not.
We unmuted, so we should be good.
Oh, you're good now. Go ahead. So, talk a little bit about your piece of the puzzle with My Warrior's Place.
Well, I've known Kelly for a while. We unfortunately lost our son as well, Senior Airman Shinwa Messenberg, on January 1st, 2019. Unfortunately, we lost him by his own hand. So I've known Kelly through the American Gold Star Mothers and getting to know Laura and Danny that are sitting here next to us that we had some of the issues with. As a retired, and Danny is a retired chief of police and now missed serving, and he's back. He's one of our Charlotte County deputies. And so meeting with them, talking about our cause and wanting to do something more that keep things localized, because we've both been ambassadors for Mission 22 for a long time, but we wanted to keep the money to help the people here because we have such a large concentration of veterans, retired law enforcement.
Well, and I'm going to clue everybody in here real quick. So I've been doing this podcast for quite a while, and Mitch and Shannon and I, we met a long while back, but we did a motorcycle run together and kind of reignited this whole conversation. I am going to have you guys back on, and I'll tell you why. We're having some technical difficulty, and I still want to move forward and finish this, but I wanted anyone in the listening audience to know that you can look at Facebook and get the information and really work it that way. But if you're listening right now and you're trying to hear, it's kind of breaking up, and I don't know if there's storms out there. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but believe it or not, it's been the most difficult show out of all that I've ever done. And the one caveat to this whole thing is Kelly is coming in loud and clear with no hesitation. So I just wanted to let you guys know, and the listening audience know, that we're actually going to bring you guys back and do this again. So this is going to be a good practice run through, and hopefully we'll finish strong. But I wanted to let the listening audience know that. So Mitch and Shannon, I kind of took your wind out of your sail a little bit because of all the technical stuff. But with your partnership that you have now, what's that mean for what you guys are doing?
Well,
Okay, Mitch, they just froze up again.
Remember,
Kelly,
um,
Kelly, I'm going to have you come in.
Okay.
And can you explain exactly the partnership that's going on with what you're doing and what Mitch and Shannon are doing?
Yeah. We're up in Ruskin right now, and we had 4 amazing programs. Besides the retreat center, we have Fave Boating Expeditions that provides boating trips, fishing trips, pleasure trips. We also have another program called Everyday Heroes USA, which helps with catastrophic relief items. We never give anybody money, but if they need a battery or maybe some new tires for the car, and they can show hardship, we will help them out with that. Also, my service dogs place, a lot of people don't realize it, but unfortunately, we have service dogs going to the pound when the veteran handler is hospitalized. If they don't have a family member or a friend to be able to take their dog, it goes to the pound, and they're getting out then of the hospital, a lot of them finding out they no longer have a service dog. And we just don't feel they should have to choose between their health and well-being and their service dog. And then we had a program called Project Corregidor, which is our mental health and physical well-being. But once we met Shannon and Mitch, and we are moving, you can see Project Corregidor there. It's been updated to be Operation Solid 7 now. We've changed the name. Mitch and Shannon have taken over Operation Solid 7, which is now the mental health and well-being, because we're moving down to Punta Gorda. And we're very excited to have them come on board and run this program. Each program can stand alone, but also at the same time, we work together as a team, and everybody is involved with My Warriors Place and help out with the programs. So we're very excited that Mitch and Shannon and all those involved with Operation Solid 7 are picking up the reins and running with this program and making it a deeper, richer program to touch more lives. And in fact, we're even going to be adding a cadet program. When we do our 3-day, 3-night program now, which is Forever a Warrior, they typically say if I would have had this information prior to going into the military, I would have been mentally healthier going in, which means I would have been mentally healthier coming out. And so we are going to be doing a cadet program for JROTC, Civil Air Patrol, Young Marines, and all the other youth groups that are out there that have to do with military, law enforcement, firefighter, so that we can get them into a better mentally position in their life so that they can deal with the tragedies of war. They can deal with having to be out on the streets in law enforcement or firefighter and having to encounter tragedies and very stressful situations on the job and be able to handle it just a little bit easier.
So I want to bring this up because without groups like yours and without the public and private support that you're drumming up, a lot of our soldiers, and I'm going to say it because it needs to be said, we're not taking good care of them. We really are not. Anybody who goes to war for our country, I think they should have the same mental health and healthcare status that a senator has. That would be an easy fix for me, because that would be the first thing I would ask for. And without groups like yours paying attention to what's going on with a lot of the organization, and a lot of the soldiers themselves, they kind of get lost in the shuffle, don't they?
They do. And I think that's what makes us unique, and the fact that we have a really strong core group of people that have been that or done that, whether it's like myself, I didn't serve, but my son did, and I know what it's like to lose a family member to war. Mitch and Shannon, the same thing. They lost a family member, a loved one. Also, we've got firefighters, law enforcement involved, veterans involved, and so we understand from the inside out, I guess, what is needed and what's not being addressed, and what can be done to help make things a little easier for them. And so I think that's why our program is so supportive, but also impactful, because we're coming at it from a been there, done that versus a clinical or school, what I've learned in school type situation.
So can you hear me, Mitch and Shannon?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. So, you sent me the picture, and please talk a little bit about your son, and let people know why your heart's in this.
Well, do you have the picture up by any chance?
I do. He's on screen.
No,
Okay.
that's where we
Not
can't
here.
see that, but that's okay. We
Yeah,
can.
we know the picture, yeah.
We know what it looks like.
So, Shimwa was deployed, and
They
And
lost him.
of course, I would lose them. We're just having so much technical difficulty. Kelly, I'm going to leave his picture up, but
This picture is of Shenhua, and that's how the program got its name. He sent this picture to Shannon and Mitch, and they said that, hey, you're very handsome. And he said, hey, I'm a solid 7. So that's how Solid 7 got its name. And I hope I did that,
pretty
gave it
close.
justice.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. When he sent that, and I said, I texted him back. I said, "Damn son, you're one handsome man," and he said, "I'm a solid 7," and that's kind of where we got the name from. Is the Solid 7, Operation Solid 7.
Well, and it seems to me that everything you guys are doing, you've built a little family around each other.
Oh yeah.
With all the connections you've made. Kevin, I hope you're hearing us loud and clear now. You seem to be listening good. So, what's your thought on the program? And hopefully, we'll get you in the whole paragraph this time. Is you seem like you're pretty solid now with the internet.
Yeah, I hope so.
You guys go.
I think we have a long, hard road ahead of us, but I think we're building the right team to do this. And, I really want to also, I see Danny and Laura just got in front of the camera. I really want to mention, and maybe this will be a good segue to them, is that we've all heard the number 22 a day. And some years it varies. But it's a tragic situation, and like you said, I believe what you say. Our veterans and our service members should have equivalent care to anybody in our government and our politicians. But the problem is just as big and nearly as runaway, if you will, in the law enforcement community and first responder community. And one of the interesting things that I've really come to appreciate is that, for us veterans, we go off to war and maybe we've got a 6 or a 7 month deployment or a 12-month deployment. And we come back, and maybe those places where we were hurt or where our friends lost their lives, our teammates lost their lives, we don't really maybe never go back to again. Our law enforcement and our first responders are exposed to some of these similar tragic events in their own communities, and they drive by that scene every day. They go by that house and say that's where, that baby, lost his life, or, so that there's a difference in the way the first responders experience this PTS issue, and the suicides are nearly as prolific. So I'd like to turn it over, if you're okay, John, to Danny and Laura.
We kind of lost them. They're having some internet issues, and maybe they'll pop back on. If they do, then we'll absolutely pull them up here real quick. You guys are not all in the same house, right?
We are, but you guys are coming back online? Yes. Laura and Danny and Mitch and Shannon and I are all in the same house. the 4 of them are in one spot and I'm in another. So we're fading in and out here for some reason.
That's okay. If somebody wants to come in and sit next to you, feel free.
Yeah, Danny, Laura, if you guys
you've got great access and good volume, and that is, right now that's a bonus.
Yes.
But this is a hugely important program to our community as a whole. We've got a lot of veterans down here, and you're right, that 22 a day, it's insane. That we're not addressing that situation. I'm going to let you two introduce yourselves and kind of give an overview of why you're part of the program. Unmute, Kevin. Unmute.
Hey, John, my name is Dan Barzakowski. This is my wife, Laura, my much better half. We've had careers in law enforcement. I worked 25 years in Rhode Island, retired as the chief of police. My wife did a 20-year career with the Rhode Island sheriffs. She retired. I retired for about a year and a half and realized how much I missed it and decided to get back into the game. So I'm currently serving again down here with the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. Throughout our careers, we've seen a lot of positive things, but we've also seen a lot of tragedy, a lot of loss. We've both lost members of our agencies to suicide. We've seen a lot of families broken up. We've seen a lot of tough things. It's expected when you start in a career like this, you're going to see some bad things, but what we are aware after our careers and still ongoing, that, the people that serve others also need services. We're fortunate enough to meet Mitch and Shannon, and then Kevin, and working together, we all bring a different perspective to our mission. And ultimately, we're gonna do our best to make sure that anyone that's serving, either whether it be as a first responder or a military or retired or their families, have resources they need if they're not getting them anywhere else. And that's our goal, that's our mission, and we're dedicated to that cause.
So, how long have you been a police officer?
I did 25 years in my first career, and I just started over. I got about a year in down here with Charlotte County. I think I got another 14, 15 in me, God willing. So,
all right. I don't know if it's fair or not, but I'm not going to call you rookie.
I've been in the game a little while.
Yeah, you get that much experience under your belt that you start talking that 1.5 years. It's like, okay, no, not true.
That's in the second round.
The beauty is as stressful and as meaningful as this program is, the laughter is truly, I think, one of the most important parts to talk about. And it's because this could be an extremely stressful organization to go through if you didn't have your sunny moments. Right. And I kind of want to highlight that for a second with you guys, because I know how I've just met Kelly, but I know how Mitch and Shannon feel about it, and I can see the energy and the camaraderie. But the fact that there's some smiles, there's some laughter, and there's still the drive to get this project done. Talk a little bit about the energy you guys have as a unit. Seeing as how you got almost 27 years as far as service time.
Well, obviously, we feed off each other's energy. We're dedicated to this program. We're also dedicated to each other to make sure that, friends and family of ours don't see any more loss. And that kind of pushes us. Now, obviously, there is some highs and lows, like you mentioned. There is some back and forth. But ultimately, we benefit, and we are healing ourselves as we help others. So we're all dealing with issues, but if we have the ability to pay it forward, it helps us in the process too. So don't be fooled by this. We're here to help others, but simultaneously, we're healing ourselves in the process.
I agree with you. I agree 110%. And that's kind of why I talked about the laughter, is because there's no better medicine than to be able to chuckle every once in a while, even though you're dealing with really what our government's not dealing with, and not really holding their value to our servicemen and women, whether you're a firefighter, whether you're a police officer. We've gone through some really traumatic times. And I don't even have to talk about our soldiers because I served. We've been doing this to our soldiers since I was a kid. We don't get it right. We talk a talk, but we don't walk the walk. And then we have people like you guys who are stepping up the game to remind us that it's here and that it happens and that there are some solutions out there and that you're driving this organization. And it's kind of ironic. We're talking about 6 people, maybe 10 total that are really walking the walk. And you guys, you deserve kudos for that. But I'm going to go up to Kelly here real quick, and I kind of want your insight on it because I'm watching your face. And, it's a radio show that I get to do on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And the beauty of that is I get to watch facial expressions. And yours is kind of giving you away a little bit. And I feel like you want to say something.
Well, it's to be able to work with people that are like-minded and want to give back. It's so refreshing. And to know that if I'm having a bad day, I got someone that I can lean on. And I think that's so important for all of us, knowing that if we're having a bad day, we've got somebody that we can reach out to and lean on. And then I think also the thing that really helps to set us apart as well is the fact that we have such a beautiful setting environment that we can help with the healing process. It's not a clinical setting like a hospital or a clinic. It's actually nature, beautiful nature. And just to see them come out, and maybe somebody who hasn't smiled in a long time, they catch a fish and they're reeling it in and they're smiling. And it's so heartwarming to see those shifts in people, and to know that we're able to make a positive difference in their life.
And so let's talk about the healing for you during that time, because I think we're watching it live. There has got to be some real gratitude that you get from this, all of you. And I'm so happy for all of you, and I'm so upset that we're not paying attention more. You got my word that we're going to do this again, and we're going to make sure we talk about this often, and not once a year. It cannot be a topic that's forgotten. We have got to learn to stand up for our servicemen and women. And first responders are probably the most important part of any conversation when it comes to safety of a community. Mm-hmm. And we're really, overall as a nation, we're sucking at it right now. And I hope that the congressmen and the senators and the president, I hope they're all listening. I hope they're going to listen to you, and I hope they're going to see what you're doing and really want to reach out and do something honorable. The men and women who serve, who we talk about suicide, and I've had this conversation on the show when it comes to suicide. And there's a lot of people out there that are under stress. They're under major stress. But anybody who serves, first responders, nurses, doesn't matter. There's trauma that comes in the door. I remember one of my first years at the hospital. I took the first gunshot victim of the year in ICU, and he died. And and it was traumatic. I still remember it. I wasn't on a battlefield. I was in ICU. I was a tech, and the person I didn't know, the family, I gotta tell you, you get to know them real quick. And I have a feeling that's what you guys go through on your end, that it's the letting down of the guard, so to speak, that you're allowing these people to have who come in and get to fish, get to spend some time in the wilderness. And I see you shaking your head, Kelly. Is that pretty much what you're thinking right now?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of that. I call it bond family. Um, the military and law enforcement, firefighters, they know what that family, uh, is all about. And unfortunately, in our society, we think civilians, that families only by blood, and that's so far from the truth. And I know that there's probably more people out there that would like to help and do something to get involved. And we welcome everybody with open arms. I mean, we'd love to have more people to get involved, whether it's donation of your time, your talent, funding, whatever they can do. They always say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a lot of people to help.
How can people get involved? I've got it up on the screen now, but if people were to want to give you a call or shoot you an email or send you a letter, I've got the information up on the screen, but I'll let you talk about that.
Sure. I mean, there's a couple different ways. There's an actual link on there about how to get involved or to contact us, either one. And we'll be glad to hear from you and get you plugged in as quickly as possible. So it's easy to do. We've got a lot of work ahead of us down in Punta Gorda. And I mean, we're needing engineers. We're needing architects. We're needing people that know how to build, construction, all of that. We want people that can swing a hammer, that can help with a meal, whatever it is. Even just teaching somebody to fish or to kayak or whatever. All of that is very helpful, and they can easily become a volunteer with us.
Where in Punta Gorda is the location?
It's off of Oil Well Road. It's actually on a little dirt road called Bass Road. And our west side of the boundary actually nestles up to the Wildlife Wetlands Preserve. So it is very rustic out there, but I think that's also why it's so healing. Such a great piece of property for people to come out and be on.
How many people have been out so far?
Well, I'm going to say we've probably had close to 100, but maybe most of those 50 to 60 of them were just last weekend. On Saturday, we had the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association came out and did a barbecue out there and a picnic, and hosted a meeting. And the president of the chapter actually gave us a review saying it was probably the best venue they have ever been to, and they can't wait to come back. So, I mean, we're just getting started down there, so we've got a long ways to go, but as we continue to build and get the property going, I expect that we'll be having more and more all the time.
How have you guys gotten the word out to the veterans?
Facebook, website, word of mouth.
I got to tell you, I've been at this game a long time, and one of the hardest things to do is get the word out.
Yeah.
the good news is good reviews travel fast. People who like the property and like what you guys are going to do and are doing, that information is going to get out there a lot faster than a bad review. I know. I actually I appreciate Mitch and Shannon. Now I've met the rest of you, and y'all are in the same boat. You're a plus across the board, and I know the next time we do this, I think we're all going to meet on site. I'll bring my tablet and my internet, and I will come right to the facility, and we'll do it live from the facility in Punta Gorda.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So
We love showing it off.
we're gonna do something. There's got to be some things that we can connect with, some people we can connect with to get the word out quicker. I think we need to scramble some resources and get that information out, even if it's just letting people fish and, like you said, create a smile on their face. There's definitely a need, and in this day and age right now that we're in, people are feeling a lot of pressure, and a lot of the people you guys were talking about felt the pressure before this year or last year, and we're even talking the pandemic year. People dealt with that in all kinds of different ways. And when you're under stress, man, I got to tell you, I was blessed during COVID, and I didn't feel like I was under stress. And then I experienced the hurricane, and I don't tell this story very often, but the hurricane, I started at about 100 miles an hour and I think I finished at 200 miles an hour. And in between that time frame, because I didn't have damage, but I had friends and customers who nonstop, we were on the road helping. I had a doctor's appointment. I went in to see my doctor in Sarasota. First time I cried in the lobby. Never cried in the lobby before. And they said, what's wrong? And I said, I forgot my insurance card. I can't take it. I'm done. Part of the problem was as I drove down Bee Ridge, and it was normal. I got to the hospital where I used to work, and it was normal. And nothing in my life at home was normal. Can you imagine a soldier coming back from war? Can you imagine a police officer having to deal with what they deal with every day? Talking about a hurricane. Some reality in what happens to people and when. I say that to everybody as a wake up, because I'm not by myself in any stretch of the imagination, but can you imagine a soldier serving time, coming back, and having to deal with not normal? Because normal to them and normal to me was I was dealing with hurricane at 190 miles an hour. They were dealing with a war at 109 miles an hour. And then they got to come back and chill. And there's no such word, I don't believe.
I don't know. Can you hear me, John?
I can. Go ahead.
Whoa. Hey. Whoo. No, when we started this program, we decided to meet with, we all have a bunch of friends that are retired and active duty veterans, law enforcement. So we invited a whole group.
Oh, I lost her.
This is what are your guys' thoughts? And they're like, we need this so badly. Thank you so much. We don't have anything like this in the area. It was supposed to be like an hour and a half. I think we stayed there for 3 hours just talking and opening up and sharing stories and crying. I mean, it's so desperately needed in our community.
Do we have, other than what you guys are doing, and this is why I think it's just amazing, Do we have anything else like this near us?
Well,
I
agencies
don't think so,
agencies
not
do
really. I
offer
mean, there's, I think, some
assistance.
small things people are doing, but nothing to this magnitude.
Yeah, it's either really small stuff or really really big stuff that doesn't affect our area as much. So
Yeah.
it's more of it's either national or very very tiny.
And I'm going to slide over to Mr. Police Officer. I'm sorry I forgot your name.
Dan.
Danny. And you had something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the police and fire agencies do EAPs, but in some instances, members aren't comfortable going to internal systems. They feel, if there's any type of confidentiality breach, it could affect their career, their upward mobility, their general operation. So a lot of times, and again, it's getting to the point realizing you need something, which is hard enough in itself, and then having the courage to ask for that. Sometimes it's not comfortable doing it in-house. We want to give people the opportunity and ability to do that.
And I like what you're saying, Danny. You keep cutting out, but
Protect their job or their abilities.
And you know what? You kind of cut out, but I'm going to say, when you have a situation like that where your job could be at jeopardy, that's just imagine the stress level that you go through there, and then the stress level of I got to ask for help, but I can't. So you're really layering more, and that's the value of what you guys are offering to put out. You're taking that fear factor away, and maybe letting somebody come in and get some relief through conversation. First off, some relaxation that will maybe let their mind work a little different versus stress. And I think that everything that you're talking about, it bodes well for our community as a whole. And I agree with you, Danny, that organizations out there, they do have that. And I've talked to enough police officers in my day that they're definitely stressed. I've had family members in there. So if something does go wrong, there's just a whole nother stress level that comes along with that package. We've got nurses that go through the same thing. We've talked about police officers, we've talked about the soldiers, but we haven't even talked about the guys who come back who have injuries, who are at a completely different stress level. If you came back and you were not injured, and people look at you and they say you're not injured, man, we don't talk about mental health nearly enough in this nation, because there would be less killing in our nation if we could just address the mental health issue that's on our streets every single day. Kevin, I see you slid the mic over. You have something to add?
Yeah, I think we're cutting in and out a bit. Are you hearing us?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. A couple things, you mentioned, the stigmas. Danny mentioned the stigmas of seeking help that exists in the military, very much so, even though our senior leaders say that it doesn't. Guys and gals fear losing their security clearance. Agency. But one of the things I wanted to mention is you mentioned, the invisible side of things, with PTS. Well, one of the leading injuries coming out of the war on terrorism has been traumatic brain injuries. And that is an invisible injury also. And I happen to have both of them. I have PTS and I have a traumatic brain injury from being wounded in Afghanistan in '09. And, I felt guilty for a long time because, I almost wished that I had lost a leg or something like that somebody could see, because, I suffered from debilitating migraines. I still get them to this day, not as bad, but if
Man, I'm so sorry.
bed,
Mike is
room, I felt like I was the weak link in the unit, that guys would look at me if I had lost a leg and go, okay, well, we can see that. You can't see the invisible wounds. And the other thing I wanted to mention is about the healing, historically, going back years, going back to the Romans, healing after war was typically done in group settings. It wasn't done going. So I think
You did. You cut out.
Yep. Healing was not done by going and sitting in a room, in an office across the desk from a psychiatrist or a counselor, and getting a prescription and walking out and go.
Cut out again. So
Lost again there. So I think that's important. I think that might be important to what you said about nurses and clinicians and things like that, is that we need to get these people into groups with people that have had similar experiences. Not a single counselor not that they don't exist, but they're few and far between. So, what is a non-military member or a non-combat veteran going to tell me about my wartime experiences?
Well, I'm going to tell you, we've got about a couple minutes left, and I am so upset right now that we have not had good connectivity, because there's one thing that can be said about doing the show the first time through, and the emotion that you guys have packed into this, the stories that you've got, the power of what you guys are doing. You're going to affect so many people, and it's going to happen really fast. There's too many biker gangs out there, and too many bike riders out there that hang out at Twisted Fork and up and down the coast that aren't going to talk about it, aren't going to talk to each other. So that's going to be the first and foremost thing that's going to happen. But we're going to do this again on location. I'm promising you guys that we're going to make this right. We're going to do the show the right way on location, and we're going to have a good time doing it. And we're going to have a nice fresh start. The listening audience out there, I please help me get the word out. We're gonna do this again and again and again. It's not going to be a once in a lifetime thing for us. We're going to make this probably a quarterly thing, so we can get updates on what you guys are doing and where you're at. And I'm making that commitment to all of you now. So you guys keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it. I apologize for the internet, but we'll get it right.
Thanks for your time today, John.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, you guys have a great day. And listen, Northport, slow your roll out there. Let's get home safe. It's Friday night. Let's make sure that we do it the right way and not send anybody to the hospital. So keep it under 80. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great night, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Yeah, so